Okay, let's start with subsidence. So we've all heard of it, but what does it really mean besides knowing that we do have these mandates to reduce it? So subsidence is a large issue in the Gulf Coast due to the clays that we have within our soils. It's the culprit in land subsidence in regards to groundwater pumping. While clay appears to be larger than a silt or a sand, it's actually the smallest particle size. It also does hold the most moisture. However, when groundwater levels decline, it causes the clay and the silts to compact and stack. These stacks occupy less space and also have less space between them to store water. Clays do have a shrink swell capacity. And when I say this, I think of foundation issues, which does make them elastic. However, when large amounts of water are withdrawn, it makes these compactions irreversible. Subsidence in the Houston-Galveston area has increased the frequency and severity of flooding. Near the coast, the result of land subsidence is an apparent increase in sea level or a relative sea level rise. So a growing awareness of subsidence-related problems, it prompted the 1975 Texas legislature to create the Harris-Galveston Coastal Subsidence District for the main purpose of ending subsidence. It's authorized to issue well permits, promote water conservation, and to promote conversion from groundwater to surface water supplies. It has largely succeeded in its primary objective, arresting subsidence in the coastal plains of East Houston. However, subsidence has accelerated in fast-growing inland areas north and west of Houston, which still rely on groundwater, and partly as a result, the Fort Bend Subsidence District was created by the legislature in 1989. So overall, this is a story of successful planning. People responded early to help band together a solution to subsidence and flooding. So this is why people don't really know about subsidence as much, because it was saved from being an overall catastrophe. And here we are, the North Fort Bend Water Authority. So North Fort Bend was created in May of 2005 to facilitate to the compliance with the Fort Bend Subsidence District's rules and regulations. The legislature determined the North Fort Bend boundaries, and requests were taken by entities to be excluded from the authority's boundaries no later than 120 days after the act was passed. The legislature also deemed the authority to be a non-taxing authority. Therefore, the monies are factored into our rates. We get that question a lot. The North Fort Bend serves as an umbrella for all the groundwater reduction plan participants within it. So overall, it takes the responsibility and accountability to meet the GRP mandates. So if each entity had to seek alternative water sources, the cost would be exponential. The Subsidence's 2003 regulatory plan mandated that there had to be a 30% reduction in groundwater usage by 2014, and that was timely met, and there has to be a 60% reduction by 2025. So here are some facts about the North Fort Bend Water Authority. It's 141 square miles. We still have 40% of the land that has not been developed. We have over 90 utility districts and the city of Fulshear within it. There are 31 well owners and 17 contract participants. And we get asked a lot what a contract participant is. And contract participants are well owners outside the boundaries that have joined the authority as a groundwater reduction plan participant.
Now it's time for the nerdy part of the presentation. We're going to dive into all the numbers and talk about water demand and rate projections. As Whitney discussed earlier, the purpose of the North Fort Bend Water Authority is to combat subsidence by reducing groundwater pumpage and replacing it with alternative water supplies, such as surface water and reclaimed water. We were mandated by the Fort Bend Subsidence District to use at least 30% alternative water by 2014, which we did, and 60% alternative water by 2025 for all of our groundwater reduction plan participants. As shown on this table, we project populations, their associated water demands, and minimum alternative water requirements well into the future. We rely on third-party population projection experts, historical data on developments, areas, historical water usage, and weather trends, to name a few, to make educated projections. This helps us plan how much alternative water we will need to deliver in the future. As Whitney said, our boundary is currently only 60% developed, and we also have contract participants that are developing outside of our boundaries. Since the 60% alternative water requirements apply to all water usage after 2025, that means that we have to plan to meet those increasing alternative water needs for the future population as well as today's population. Like we just discussed, we're planning for the future, and planning on this scale requires a lot of infrastructure. The surface water sources are located all the way on the east side of the Houston region. By creating the water authorities, large-scale infrastructure projects were feasible between larger entities capable of procuring and distributing surface water. Without the water authorities, each individual MUD would have had to find alternative water supplies, enter into agreements, and construct costly infrastructure without the benefit of economy of scale. This graph depicts the annual cost of the North Fort Bend broken out into 3 basic categories. And you might be thinking, what is that huge green portion of the graph? The green portion makes up our debt service payments, which is another way to say infrastructure costs. It's by far the largest expenditure that we have. Red represents the cost of the raw water we purchase from the city of Houston, and blue represents operations, which is all other expenditures. As shown on the graph, costs are projected to continue increasing through 2025. Our debt service payment is the principal and interest we pay annually for the bonds that we've issued to pay for our large-scale infrastructure projects. These projects are the Northeast Water Purification Plant, the Surface Water Supply Project, the Loose Bayou Interbasin Transfer Project, and our own internal distribution lines. Previous projects include the Bel Air Pump Station, as well as securing capacity in an existing City of Houston water line and the East Water Purification Plant. The authority has a financial advisor that has managed to reduce our debt service payments significantly through refinancing our bonds, as well as through low-interest federal and state funding opportunities. These financial decisions have saved millions of dollars of our debt service payments over the lifetime of the bonds. Most recently, a refunding bond was priced that includes an 18% savings, corresponding to a present-day value savings of $8.5 million. To meet our alternative water requirements, we have already issued $775 million in bonds and plan to issue approximately $383 million more by 2024. And the really great news is that these are all of the bonds that will be required to meet our current alternative water conversion plan. The most frequent questions we get asked are, why are my rates so high, and when are they going to stop increasing? The North Fort Bend receives all of the money required to meet our alternative water requirements through our water rates, since we are not a taxing entity. As we just saw, the bonds required to pay for the infrastructure are nearly all issued, and the debt service payments will begin to cap at a steady payment in the next several years. This past October, a third-party rate expert completed a study to independently verify our projected rates for the next 5 years, which is what's shown on this slide. In the past, we have increased both our groundwater pumpage fee and our surface water rate by 30 cents per 1,000 gallons annually, and we were recommended to continue this trend by our rate expert for 2021 and 2022. These increases will pay for those increased infrastructure, raw water, and operations costs that we saw on the bar chart. We anticipate that we can reduce that standard 30-cent increase to just 5 cents per 1,000 gallons in 2023. And the really exciting news is that we are not currently projecting any other rate increases through at least 2025. All of this is dependent on our water usage and costs. I would like to point out that while these rates may seem high, they are much lower than the disincentive fee that would be charged for not complying with groundwater reduction mandates by the Fort Bend Subsidence District. The current disincentive fee for not meeting these requirements is $6.50 per 1,000 gallons and is expected to increase during the Fort Bend Subsidence District regulatory reviews.
All right, so we've been talking about some of these large regional projects. Julia gave you an outline of North Fort Bend's cost share in some of these projects, but this map depicts the magnitude, the reach of some of these projects, starting with the Luce Bayou Interbasin Transfer Project up in Liberty County, starting on the Trinity River and bringing water down to Lake Houston. Then the Northeast Plant Purification Plant expansion, the Surface Water Supply Project, which will bring water from Lake Houston across to both North Fort Bend Water Authority and West Harris County Regional Water Authority. And then I'm going to give a brief synopsis of the internal transmission lines we plan to construct to meet that 2025 conversion requirement. To date, we have in place our Bel Air pump station located on Bel Air Boulevard at Senate. It's a 40 MGD plant, and we've got about 50 miles of internal transmission line ranging from 48 inches down to 12 inches, bringing water to, I believe, around 34 water plants. So on the Luce Bayou Interbasin Transfer Project, it's going to have the ability to transfer 500 million gallons a day from the Trinity River over to the San Jacinto River Basin or Lake Houston. Overall estimated cost is about $350 million. North Fort Bend is obviously a major partner in that, along with the other regional water authorities and the city of Houston. Coastal Water Authority, in fact, is the actual entity that is administering this project. They've been managing the design and construction throughout. The cost contribution that we're making is for our portion of debt service. Overall, the project is very near to completion. Capers Ridge Pump Station is getting close to completion, looking at doing testing early next year. The dual 96s are more or less complete as well. And then the series of canals, and I'll give you a little more detail, about 3.5 miles of dual 96s, followed by 23.5 miles or so of canals, open channel canals that bring the water by gravity all the way down to Lake Houston. The canals are complete as well, so very close to having that full project online, and I think we've got a little video to show you a flyover.
This project will be able to divert up to 500 million gallons of water a day from the Trinity River and pump it into side-by-side 96-inch diameter underground pipelines. To provide an idea of the size of these pipes, a Ford F-150 pickup truck could drive through these 8-foot diameter pipes with room to spare. This water will flow through these pipelines to a storage and sedimentation basin, and then into a canal that runs into the northeastern tip of Lake Houston.
All right. Once that water gets to Lake Houston, it will be taken into the Northeast Water Purification Plant. There is an existing plant there, a City of Houston plant, that's rated at 80 million gallons a day. This expansion will add an additional 320 million gallons a day to bring it to 400 total. That's to meet the water demand and conversion requirements, again, for all those regional partners that we're working with. Overall estimated cost of $1.94 billion, and North Fort Bend's estimated share is about $415 million. And we've got a flyover of this project as well on the next slide. But right now the project's around the 30% completion mark and is on schedule to be wrapped up in mid-2024 ahead of the 2020. So this is giving you an overall idea of the size of this this project. Lots going on out there. Lots of folks involved. We have a full-time representative out there Lindsay Kovar had been doing that. Ian Peets is back on the team and is going to be our full-time rep out there. This video right here is showing the intake structure of the pier going out into Lake Houston. But lots going on out there. Lots of construction trailers. They actually refer to it as Trailer City out there. So really just kind of, it's kind of a city out there. Massive project out there off of West Lake Houston and Beltway 8. So lots going on out there. So once the water is treated and pushed out of the Northeast Water Purification Plant, it enters the Surface Water Supply Project, which is a large diameter pipeline project, as you can see a little picture down in the corner, 96 inch down to an 84, and then ultimately a 66 and a 42 that are going to bring water to North Fort Bend at its 2 meter stations, the one at Bel Air Pump Station, and then a new meter station that'll be located just outside 99 and south of I-10 to bring water up to the northern portions of our internal transmission system. Overall estimated cost about $1.2 billion. It's roughly 55 miles total of transmission water line. North Fort Bend share of that's about 45%-ish, 539 million. Construction has started in earnest on one of the smaller diameter, one of the 42-inch lines in that center point corridor that runs north-south just outside Beltway 8. If you're in the if you're driving along Willcrest or Westheimer in the Willcrest area, you can probably see some of that construction. We just finished up work right at Westside Tennis Club and are looking to bid and get under construction on segment C, which is one of the larger diameter lines, one of the main chunks, as well as some more of the segment 3 projects, the ones going up and down the center point corridor, but hoping to bid those out and get those going here again soon. But this is one we're working on with West Harris County Regional Water Authority. They're actually serving as the program manager on that. We're a financial partner in that, but have been heavily involved in review of design, establishment of construction contracts, review of cost estimates, all that kind of stuff. Myself and Ian and Kyle Jones in our office have been intimately involved in that, as well as our 3 directors that are on our joint facilities committee committee with West Harris County. That'd be Peter Houghton, Bob Patton, and Robert Darden.
The Surface Water Supply Project is a joint project between the West Harris County Regional Water Authority and the North Fort Bend Water Authority that will bring 151 million gallons a day of water from the new Northeast Water Purification Plant through a 96-inch diameter pipeline that will cross US 59, the Hardy Toll Road, Interstate 45, US 290, and Beltway 8 twice, carrying much-needed treated surface water from Lake Houston across almost 40 miles of Houston and Harris County to water users in West Harris County and North Fort Bend County. This water will ultimately be delivered to municipal utility districts and other wholesale water customers through each authority's internal distribution system for use by the residents and businesses.
There you have it. That guy said it way better than me, but nice video there, and you can get to that, I believe, on there's actually 2 websites. The Northeast plant has a site. Whitney will give you probably the specifics on that a little bit later, the exact name of it, and then there is a surface water supplyproject.com website with more information on that project, construction status, things like that. So for our internal system, you've got a map in front of you. Everything that's shown in green is in place and in operation. That's our existing system. Like I said, bringing water to 34 water plants. We're bringing some online on a regular basis as new MUDs start to develop and build their own water plants. The yellow dashed lines are what we're calling our 2025 system. But construction of that will likely be staggered over the next couple of years and even beyond 2025. Our main goal for 2025 is to get the backbone, or what I could like to call the backbone line, our segments 11A, 18, and 19, which you can kind of follow from, right there, from the end of 10B up through kind of the Falcon Landing area back into Cinco Ranch to tie into that I-10 meter station where the surface water supply project is going to be bringing water over to. But if you're a consultant for one of these MUDs out in that area, we will be getting in touch with you. Julia mentioned the chloramine conversion, a very important step in the process of us bringing surface water to you, is the conversion of your disinfection system. And so we'll be coordinating with you on that as we better establish the timing of our projects and construction.
So the North Fort Bend, we have an alternative water supply program. Areas that fit into this program include stormwater capture, rainwater harvesting, and utilization of type 1 and type 2 effluent water from wastewater treatment plants. And I want to say again, that does also include rainwater harvesting and stormwater capture. A lot of people think that this program is just limited to effluent. So overall, utilizing reuse has come a long way. It used to be a yuck factor, but with the gaining and understanding about it, that it saves money, it saves resources, and it's safe for human contact, there's a better awareness and acceptance of it. We currently have 8 active districts that are reporting reuse. In 2019, reuse counted for 3.4% of our overall usage. And thus far in 2020, we have used almost 680 million gallons of reuse. And since the inception of the program in 2016, we have totaled over 1.7 billion gallons. So reuse does count towards our overconversion credits. For every 1 gallon of reuse, we receive 1.5 credits from the subsidence district. If your MUD or city is interested at looking at the alternative water supply program, please, we welcome the discussion and the opportunity to look at the feasibility with you. It's a very important initiative for the authority. And if you know anything about the authority, you probably know water conservation is a huge initiative for North Fort Bend. Overall, a lot of people don't comprehend that we're still drinking the same water the dinosaurs drank. No one is making new water. And people not knowing this is okay. They're not supposed to know because they don't breathe this life like a lot of us do every day. So education is key for all ages. We're available to go to schools and do presentations, demonstrations, and administer activities. And if you have any schools, we welcome the invites at all times. It's a great way to get in. I know when my kids come home with things they learned at school, they make sure I learn it and they repeat it a lot. So it's a great way for adults to learn and to start saving. We also have a mobile learning lab, which has multiple features. It has maps that illustrate aquifers in the rivers. It has a really nice rainwater harvesting simulator, educational videos, and different facts about how much a dishwasher uses, how much a sprinkler system uses. If you have an event, please let us know. We'll be happy to bring it out, and we have handouts as well. So we also provide education on multiple platforms, such as social media, and there is the Water My Yard app. Our mascot, Larry the Talking Sprinkler, he was developed as an outdoor character because research has shown that up to 50% of the water used outdoors is sometimes and many times not even needed. And again, this is just about consumer awareness. We do have educational videos on our YouTube channel about proper sprinkler programming, the times, the days, when to water, how to save. A lot of videos with me talking again, so I apologize, but they are, and they're informational. So if you'd like to pass those along, please do. Larry's Toolbox Water Conservation Program. So the board of directors, our board decided that we needed to incentivize our districts and city to help pay for this conservation cause. So in 2016, the Larry's Toolbox Water Conservation Program came into play. We're currently entering the 6th year with 11 initiatives. And with this program, you can pick however many initiatives you like, and you select your programs, and you have to meet a minimum of 9 points. So each initiative is worth a different set number of points. It can be anywhere from 1 to 3. In the smart technology, that goes into AMI, AMR, customer portals, that can be up to 6 points. The more you sign up for, the better. There's no penalty if you sign up for an initiative and you do not complete it. And again, completely voluntary. And a lot of districts who aren't participating in this program, they already do some of these initiatives. And maybe they don't know that it is conservation driven. The big factor in this is what we can see at the bottom. So if you achieve those 9 points on your next year's pumpage and surface water, you will receive 10 cents per 1,000 gallons. And this is a quarterly rebate that we have. And congratulations, you made it through with me talking a whole lot, but getting valuable information from other people.